Let's welcome Frank Ferrante. Song today, Frank Ferrante.
Thank you, Louise.
Frank Ferrante.
Thank you. Just another humble entrance.
Oh my gosh, welcome. Well, it's a beautiful day in downtown Palm Springs. You picked the perfect day to come. Is everybody having a good time? So we're so excited to be able to do this. It's been a long time since we've been able to gather and do a star, and we're so grateful that we could do this today. And of course, we're here with our city council member, Dennis Woods. He's here and he'll do the proclamation. I'm Nona Watson. I'm the CEO of the Palm Springs Chamber of Commerce. And on behalf of our board of directors, all of our members, we are honored to present the 443rd star on the Palm Springs Walk of Stars to the amazing Frank Ferrante. Luckily for me, we have 4 amazing speakers, and they're going to give you an insight to his amazing life. So we're going to jump right into it with our first speaker, Ron Celona. And I'll do a quick bio on Ron. Ron is the founding artistic director of the Coachella Valley Repertory. Ron has produced, directed, and choreographed over 70 productions. He is the founder and producing artistic director for the Desert Jocelyn Players at the Jocelyn Center Theater from 1999 to 2007. He has presented Frank's performances here in the desert, and he actually nominated him for this honor. Please welcome our first guest speaker, Ron Celona.
Good morning, everyone. Like she said, what a beautiful day we have today. But isn't every day beautiful in Palm Springs? I'm honored and thrilled to be here today for my friend, Frank Ferrante. How fitting to have a star on the Palm Springs Walk of Stars. I first met Frank in 2006, 15 years ago, when he performed his one-man show, An Evening with Groucho, at the Jocelyn Senior Center. He received a Desert Star Award from the Desert Theater League and went on to perform it at the McCallum Theater and later at the Coachella Valley Repertory. He has performed Groucho live all over the world, but he is also known to tens of thousands of people for his role as Caesar, the MC in Teatro Zinzanni. Teatro Zinzanni, for those of you who don't know, is an extraordinary interactive performing arts piece now playing in Chicago. Although Frank may be best known for those 2 characters, he has a full resume of acting, singing, directing, and playwriting jobs to his credits. He has directed and performed most notably at Philadelphia's prestigious Walnut Street Theater, the first theater of our country. How many people knew that? Where he directed and developed the premiere of the Pulitzer Prize finalist Old Wicked Songs, directed and starred in Groucho, A Life in Review, directed 6 different productions of plays by Neil Simon. And in 2017, Ferrante directed and starred as Pseudolus in the Stephen Sondheim musical, A Funny Thing Happened on the Way to the Forum, and was picked as a top 10 performance of 2017 by the Wall Street Journal. Pretty prestigious. In 2019, Frank returned to the Walnut Street Theater to direct and play the lead Tito Morelli in Ken Ludwig's A Comedy of Tenors. Frank also starred as playwright-director George S. Kaufman in the one-man play entitled By George, written by Frank himself. Awards and nominations include the New York Theater World, New York Outer Critics Circle, Laurence Olivier Award, Connecticut Critics Circle, and the Helen Hayes Award. These credits, nominations, and awards are just highlights of Frank's great accomplishments. But one of the things I'm most impressed with is his interest and ability to support the producers whom he is working for, wherever he is working. For example, many actors show up for their job and step into their role, but Frank helps to promote the show in any way he can to ensure the theater's success, or in this case, the success of today's event. He truly cared that the city of Palm Springs was successful in creating today's event and helped wherever possible. That's Frank, a caring colleague, friend, an extraordinary son, brother, father, partner to his companion Drea, and a true friend to many. I'm grateful for his friendship and happy to take part in this special day. I love you, Frank.
Thank you.
Our next speaker is Bruce Fessier. He is an award-winning literary legend in the Coachella Valley. For over 40 years, he wrote for the Desert Sun, covering everything from Frank Sinatra's home life to the Coachella Valley Music Festival, Stagecoach, the International Film Festival, and so much more, including Frank. Please welcome to the stage, Bruce Fessier.
Thank you. It's a great honor to be here today because I grew up wanting to be Frank Ferrante. Actually, I wanted to be Groucho Marx. I grew up like Frank, dressing up as Groucho Marx. There's home movies of me in Halloween going around at 6 years old with the big eyebrows and all that. Later on, when I was about 18, I grew up in Whittier, San Gabriel Valley, and they had Marx Brothers Film Festivals in Hollywood, and I would go down there every weekend and I would immerse myself in the Marx Brothers movies. Later on, I would dress up as Harpo because I found I could get more girls as Harpo. But I could go on talking about myself for hours, but it's time to play you what you want. So I have 3 minutes here, so I've written a few remarks because otherwise I will go on for hours. So I moved to the Tamarisk area in Rancho Mirage in 1987, and I got to hang out with Harpo's widow, Susan Marx, and I became friends with Bill Marx, who's here in the audience today, and is one of my best friends. And there's also a neighbor named Howie Richmond who used to recall watching Groucho ride his bicycle in the Tamarisk Country Club area. And Howie and Bill formed a CGH society, which I believe Frank is a part of. It's the Chico, Groucho, and Harpo Society, and I became a proud member, and I'm very proud to say that I enlisted my friend Paul Krasner, who is most famous for turning Groucho on to LSD. Can you imagine taking an LSD trip with Groucho Marx? But I missed immersing myself in Groucho's culture when I was here. Then in 1991, Frank Ferrante brought his award-winning show, An Evening with Groucho, to a little dinner theater in Indian Wells. It was the kind of swanky joint Groucho would take Margaret Dumont to on a date with the promise, "I'll hold your seat till you get there. After that, you're on your own." Like I said, Frank and I both grew up in the San Fernando Valley, and we both became infatuated with Groucho as kids. So in Frank Ferrante, I found a kindred spirit who could recite Groucho lines for every occasion. And we would do so many interviews where we would wind up reciting Groucho lines, and it was just a wonderful experience. So much so that I started following him from every show that he would do in the Coachella Valley. And I would discover that we both knew these lines from Groucho that fit every occasion. For example, like when flirting with a woman, we knew how to say, "I'll meet you tonight under the moon. Oh, I can see you now. You and the moon. Wear a necktie so I'll know it's you." When meeting a voluptuous woman in a bar, we knew to say, "How about you and I passing out on the veranda? Or would you rather pass out here?" By the time I interviewed, one of my favorites that I've used so many times is when you're confronted with a very complex situation and you say, you're trying to say how simple it actually is. Why, a 4-year-old child could figure that out, could understand that. Quick, go find me a 4-year-old child. I can't make heads or tails of this. So by the time I interviewed Frank again in 1999, after having first interviewed him in 1991 in Indian Wells, Frank had played Groucho in Coconuts on Broadway. He had played Groucho in Animal Crackers, and he had directed and developed the 1996 Pulitzer Prize finalist Old Wicked Songs. I was doing advanced publicity for his show at Devane's, Bill Devane's restaurant in Indio, but he went on to play every major venue in the Coachella Valley. And his career just kept on getting bigger, onwards and upwards. He created the outrageous Latin lover Caesar in the show that Ron was just talking about. And suddenly I could no longer see the kindred spirit that I had known as the one and only Groucho. So I can only say, Frank, I don't know who you are, but one step and I'm yours. Thank you.
Thank you so much, Bruce. Our third speaker today is Andy Marks. He is a writer and photographer who has the distinction of having not only one but two legendary grandfathers, comedian Groucho Marx and composer Gus Hahn, who gave us songs like It Had to Be You. He is the son of Arthur Marx, who hired Frank to portray his father, Groucho Marx, on stage in New York and London in the play Groucho, A Life in Review, which Arthur wrote. Representing the Marx family, Frank's friend, Andy Marks.
I feel a little, I don't know what, I only have one page. Yeah, but that's all right, I'm going to sing, so I'm using up the other 2 minutes. You're wondering why I have a ukulele. I couldn't fit a piano. All right, anyway, yes, I am Andy Marks. I am Groucho's grandson, but not only am I here, we have my son, Ethan Marks, the great-grandson of Groucho. Ethan, I've always wanted to say this. Ethan, stand up and let me see the sunrise. So you see, he got my good looks, but he definitely got Groucho's sense of humor. He called me up one day as a student at the University of San Francisco, and he told me that this is how I knew he was a true Marx. He and his roommates in the thrift store, they found a VHS copy of Duck Soup. And they paid for it $2. They paid for it. Now all they needed was a VHS machine, which they found in a thrift store for $5. So for $7, Ethan got a taste of his first Marx Brothers movie. So I applaud you for that, Ethan. And that is good. All of my kids actually, love their great grandfathers, and it's very nice. So, like everybody else, I'm not sure I wanted to grow up and be Groucho, but I did do all of the routines, and there was a record album that came out when I was in high school. I think it was called, I don't know, the Best of the Marx Brothers or something, and it was a record album of all the comedy bits. So, and every Marx Brothers fan I know has that. So I learned all of the bits. I went off to school at Santa Barbara. I used to do Groucho everywhere. In the yearbook for the UCSB Gauchos, there was actually a picture of me, a group picture, and of our wing of the dormitory, and I am dressed up as Groucho. And you can still see that, and I guess whoever was editing it, I guess that guy got right by him. And then I was so proud of myself that I could do the Marx Brothers stuff, and in 1969, when my father was going back to do Minnie's Boys, they had a party for him, and my grandfather Groucho was there, and I immediately went into all of the bits. And he stopped me in the middle. He was very angry, and he said, "Don't do that." He goes, "I don't want to talk about the past. it's not funny, and all this. So he kind of gave me a scolding, and that was the end of me doing the Marx Brothers, which is why it's so great that we have Frank doing Groucho. So anyway, now I'm going to get to Frank. In 1985, my father Arthur, he called me up one day and he said, he said, you got to go down to USC. There's a kid down there, a college student who's got a Groucho show. You got to go. Tell me what you think. So I went down, absolutely blown away. I mean, here was a college student. It basically looked like you were watching a Marx Brothers movie. I mean, it was that good, unbelievable. And I had seen some, there had been people that had done it, but nobody did it like Frank. And then, of course, my father had his own show called, and the thing was, in Frank's show, he did Groucho as a young man. And again, it was just like watching a movie. And then in my father's show, A Life in Review, he got Frank to be in it. And that show was basically almost, from a young man to an old man. And, you had to wonder, is there some, can he do this? And I had seen other people in my dad's show that, they were okay, they could do one age, but they couldn't do another one. But Frank was literally, again, mind-blowing. I mean, he could do every age. He could do the young. He did the middle age. And the middle age is kind of what I remember, because I was growing up then, when Groucho was doing You Bet Your Life. And then, again, the most stunning thing was when he does Groucho as an old man. It is, it's like I wanted to get up and go hug him, because I literally thought I was looking at my grandfather. And I spent a great deal of my time, last couple of 2-3 years of Groucho's life, I literally spent at his house when I was archiving the You Bet Your Life series. I basically spent 3 years with Groucho every single day. I was there when he got his Academy Award. And to see Frank doing this, was is absolutely, it was astonishing. And he still does it, and it's incredible. But like everybody else has said, Frank is not, if you just did that, if you just went off in your life and that's all you did, you'd go, yeah, that's great. The guy's a great actor and he can do Groucho. But Frank is everything. Like everybody, he's an actor with a capital A. He's a director. He's a writer. He's basically everything. But to me, he's a lot more. He's a friend. I consider him a brother. A younger brother, but because nobody's older than me. But and we're both handsome, we're witty, we should be brothers. And he's also, he's been a dear friend of the families. So Frank, here's congratulations, and you absolutely deserve it. Now, before I go, Frank has asked me to play a song for him. As was mentioned, my other grandfather was the legendary lyricist Gus Kahn. It had to be you making Whoopee, Dream a Little Dream of Me. But the song I'm going to play for you is kind of a special thing for me and Frank, because it's actually used, it was actually been used in a couple of tributes to my grandfather Groucho. There's been some video things. And the song is called I'll See You in My Dreams. And Frank wanted me to sing it for all the people that couldn't be here today, and so if you know people that couldn't be here today, this is for them. I'll See You in My I'll See You in My Dreams also has kind of a special thing for me, because when I was a teenager, my grandmother took me to London for a summer vacation, and we actually met George Harrison of the Beatles. And George turned to us when he found out who my grandmother was, and he turned to me and he goes, your grandfather has written the greatest song ever written, coming from George Harrison. And I go, what song is that? And he goes, I'll See You in My Dreams. And the song was so special to him that at the memorial for George Harrison after he died, it was the very last song played for him. So we're not burying Frank today. I come not to bury him, but to praise him. So anyway, if you'll bear with me, we will start, and I will be off in 1 minute. And you know the definition of a gentleman? Anybody know?
No.
It's someone who knows how to play the ukulele but doesn't. You know where the safest place is to hide your valuables?
Where?
A ukulele case.
Don't stop.
True story. I was actually performing in Hollywood. Somebody broke into my car Not only did they not steal the ukuleles, but they put one in the car. I know you're all thinking he's no Groucho. Oh, you're right, I'm not. But I'm Andy, so here we go. Just ready to go? Anyway, this is I'll See You in My Dreams. I'm dedicating it to Frank, except for the part that says I'll kiss you. But,
Well, it's early yet.
I know, that's right. Let's go get drinks. Here we go. Though the days are long, twilight sings a song of the happiness that used to be. And soon my eyes will close, and soon I find repose. But in my dreams, you're always near to me. Sing along if you know it. I'll see you in my dreams. Nice. Hold you in my dreams. Someone took you out of my arms. Still I feel the warmth of your charms, the lips that once were mine. Oh, Frank, I'll meet you after. The tender eyes that shine, they will light my lonely way tonight. I'll see you in my dreams. They will light my lonely way tonight. I'll see you in, I'll hold you in, I'll see you in my dreams. Just time.
Our fourth speaker is Drea Weber. She is a filmmaker, actor, choreographer. She's won 47 independent film awards for her work. She's worked with Pink, Madonna, and Cher. And she is the director of the stage and film version of Frank's An Evening with Groucho, which premieres nationally on PBS in the spring of 2022. Please welcome to the stage, Drea Weber.
This is amazing. I met Frank 11 years ago at a circus endeavor called Teatro Zanzani in San Francisco. And I was hired to play Cleopatra opposite his Caesar. And it was an absurdity that was so delicious because we were both sharing the same joy of the joke of these huge characters and trying to embody them in this extraordinary form. So since that time, I've been able to do 600 or 700, hundreds of performances with Frank as a performer. And then I've been able to work with him on his Groucho show, continuing to dig and develop because his love of Groucho and his knowledge is encyclopedic. So as the times have changed and thought has changed and our culture has changed, there's been this unbelievable opportunity to mine the wealth of Groucho's humor. So throughout all of these processes, I've been able to be a first-hand witness to both being watching him develop comedy, watching him learn, never, ever, ever drop the importance of every show being opening night, every audience being the only audience you're ever going to have. He carries that with him into the theater, so when you work with him, you get to have what you imagine the experience of being in the theater should be. what you imagine, that there's going to be this camaraderie and love and richness and passion and dedication that's constantly woven into the way people are treated. Him making the effort to know everyone's name, whether they are selling merchandise or selling drinks or at a table or lighting or sound. The entire community of the theater and the experience is so valuable, and every single person holds the same status to him. And that, I think, is the model, and almost more important than the talent, which is astounding. It's that he takes the whole experience of being in theater and makes it what we hope it would be. So then the joking and the joy and the camaraderie and the love is so deep and so rich. And as a director working with him, it's similar but different, because then I'm witnessing the suggestion of the process or what the opportunities are, and just seeing, it's like all you do, I think, when you get the opportunity to direct someone so talented is you make suggestions. You toss seeds out, and then what lands on fertile ground emerges. But seeing what emerges from Frank's spirit and heart in his passion is it's really a wondrous thing. His study of Groucho turned into this machine that he has for looking for the opportunity for humor, looking for the opportunity of our shared humanity, really, which I think is the root of all great humor. Why is it so funny? Because it's so painful and so true. And we all experience it, and that's why we can laugh with such abandon.
Comedy, tragedy.
Anyway, I fell in love with this man because of who he is, of his incredibly warm heart, his generosity, his love, and I'm so happy to be here. It's an extraordinary thing to see all of you beautiful people and witness this honoring. It's very deserved.
At this time, I would like to call Frank to the stage, not to say a few words yet, but to receive a few things from the City of Palm Springs. And our council member, Dennis Woods. Dennis, if you would like to come up, say a few words. Yes, come on up. We'll be presenting Frank with his own pin from the Walk of Stars, and it is compliments of Chris Hannon. Chris is here. Where Chris, raise your hand. He's with Benyon DeVille Homes now. And we also have a beautiful star replica, because when Frank isn't in our beautiful city, we want him to think about us. So I'll hand the mic over to Dennis Woods, our council member, and he'll say a few words.
Well, Frank, I don't know if I've ever heard an entire sidewalk singing to anybody. So congratulations, and this crowd is great. You guys have such enthusiasm. It's unbelievable. Welcome to Palm Springs, Walk of the Stars. Today is really a significant day. We are finally here. We are here for the first time since the pandemic on the Palm Springs Walk of Stars on Palm Canyon. And we are celebrating a new honoree, someone who has spent his life working in live theater. No group of individuals has been hit harder these past few months than those who work in live entertainment. So it is fitting that this first star be unveiled in 2021 as an actor, comedian, and director of the stage for over 35 years. A person who has spent his life performing worldwide before millions of audience members, telling stories and conjuring laughter wherever he performs. He represents the resiliency and stamina of the second oldest profession, the theater. It's no coincidence.
I have experience with both.
There is no coincidence that during the pandemic, our honoree was one of the first performers in the United States to return to the stage. He is currently starring in the first show to open on Chicago's Theater District, In fact, he flew here today from his day off for this dedication ceremony, and if you all notice, he arrived quite in style.
It's a long drive from Chicago.
He represents the relentless tradition of the theater and classic comedy. Academy Award winner Sean Penn once said to our honoree, "You are a giantly talented man. You have one foot in yesterday and one foot in today, and you make it all your own." The city of Palm Springs prides itself in advocating for the arts and singling out artists of extraordinary contribution. So on behalf of the city of Palm Springs, it's a delight to honor the 443rd recipient of the Star on the Palm Springs Walk of Fame, Mr. Frank Ferrante.
So a proclamation, and then of course, Frank will put your own star on the Walk of Fame. And of course, Frank, the beautiful Frank will remember us.
Appreciate it.
Absolutely, and now it's your turn.
My turn? All right, thank you. Appreciate it. That's good. Well, thank you. Thank you all. I want to thank the city of Palm Springs. I want to thank the Chamber of Commerce. I want to thank you, Nona Watson. I want to thank you, Councilman Woods. And I really want to thank all of you for being here today. I'm so excited to get this. And I'm excited to be the first recipient in the midst of this pandemic because of what you say. I feel like so many of my colleagues have been out of work for a couple of years, have been devastated. We'll start with a downer and build to the laughs. But, you know, so many of my friends won't return to the business. And I was out of work for a couple of years, and I feel very, very fortunate to be here and represent. So thank you, Palm Springs. And I want to just acknowledge, you know, I love this, and I love the theater. This is theater, and this is what we've missed for the last couple of years, which is being together and hearing music. Thank you, Andy, and hearing stories like you gave us, Mr. Fessier, Mr. Celona, and Miss Weber. We missed this joy. Netflix is terrific, don't get me wrong, and social media has served its purpose, but nothing can replace the theater, the live theater. This is what it's all about, and I'm so honored to be part of this tradition where we celebrate, like we did in the day where we all sat around the fire and asked about each other's day and tried to make each other laugh and forget our pain, and so this is like being around the fire for me. I want to just acknowledge just a few groups that have changed. Well, I want to first acknowledge my family. My mother is here, and my father is here. Teresa and my father Dominic and his wife Diane are here. And I was very, very fortunate to hit the lottery with these parents of mine. I was a pretty insecure, awkward kid, like most kids are. Well, I was particularly self-conscious, I think. But I remember I had to share a couple of quick stories. My mom, I was auditioning for a show in high school, and I was afraid to audition. I was 14 years old, and we went to LaSalle High School, and I was so afraid to get out of the car. And she kept driving. I said, and we'd get to the school for the audition. I was 14, and she'd say, "Frank, go." I said, I can't, I'm scared. We drove around the block. Again, "Frank, you gotta go, audition for this thing." Again, happens 3 times, and finally she just pushed me out of the door. If she had not pushed me out of the door, I wouldn't be standing before you right now. So thank you for that. And that's just the tip of the iceberg. My father, the same. I mean, my father is the one who took the day off of work to take me to see my comedy hero, Groucho Marx. There are always these extras. There's always this bonus to being the son of these 2 people. It was an honor, and I was lucky to have 2 brothers who got to share that who are here tonight. And so I just want to say thank you to them. We need each other. We need each other right here. It matters. There's been a lot of time to think during the last couple of years, that's for sure. But I wanted to acknowledge, and Andy is so beautiful with your song, and just my grandparents were 3 out of the 4 were immigrants, And they work so hard. I have to say their names because I get to have the name here in cement. Frank and Lucy Ferrante, and Tony and Sophie Torres. And I may be the first person in my family, one of the first, to be able to do what he wants to do, what he loves to do, not what he has to do or thinks he has to do to make money to survive. It's a luxury. It's a luxury to be in the arts to a certain extent, and it's not a sure thing. And it's had plenty of ups and downs, but because of the hard work, I have a photo of my two grandfathers in a field in El Centro, in a vineyard. They knew each other when they were in their 20s. And I look at that photo every day when I'm home, and I thank them for giving me the opportunity to do this. It's an amazing thing. So here's to all of those grandparents, all those people that love us and lift us. Because of my parents' indulgence and my interest, I got to be inspired by great artists. Groucho Marx and the Marx Brothers. I never laughed so hard, and it really led into a study of humor and comedy. And I didn't realize that humor and comedy would be what sustained me through, those hellish moments, and also can elevate me that much more during the most beautiful of moments. But I thank those kind of geniuses, and I'm happy that, Andy, you're here. Thank you for representing many people that I loved intimately, and Bill Marx, thank you so much for being here, representing your family, who I cared for and care for and think of daily. So, and all the great funny people that came before that influenced me and touch all of us. I mean, listen, we can't laugh, we're in trouble, folks. And so I'm really grateful for the funny people that came before. I want to acknowledge Hal Holbrook, who was the first person that made me see that doing a one-person show was possible. And he became a personal friend of mine. In fact, I'm carrying his handkerchief, his pocket square that he wore in Mark Twain Tonight for 62 years. And it was given to me by his good friend and colleague, Joyce Cohen, who's here representing Hal. So thank you, Joyce, very much. And my brother Donald Mance here, I'm wearing he's no longer with us as well. I'm wearing his pocket square. He's one of the first people to see me and believe in me and say, you're funny, you're good, you can do this. And when you're a shy kid, you need to hear that. So, Brother Donald, thank you. And I have to thank this one, Mrs. Curtis. And Sarah. I grew up in Sarah. I feel like I'm representing Sierra Madre in the San Gabriel Valley and LaSalle High School and the University of Southern California. But I have to say, when I was a boy, there's on Baldwin in Sierra Madre, there's a puppet theater. There was a puppet theater workshop, which is now the Hotel Shirley. And there was a woman who worked there named Virginia Curtis, and I took classes with her, marionette classes. My first paid performance was for $2.50 operating marionettes for Mrs. Curtis. And she invented a puppet called Clippo, which was a boy clown puppet, a marionette. And she fascinated me. She transfixed me with her art. She made this little boy clown puppet come to life. And I said, wow, I want to work in make-believe because it's much more fun than reality, it turns out, often. And so I have to say I have a friend here, Robbie L, who brought Clippo, one of the Clippo. But you have one, this one, there we go, there we go, thank you, Robbie, thank you. He also was in those classes 45 years ago, 10 years ago. And anyway, so there's a lot of people there. But I also really want to thank, and I'm going to wrap this up, all the people that are here and beyond. I'm talking about people that support me in these thousands of productions that I've done, from cab drivers to hotel workers to, God, you name it, wait staff, waiter. I mean, these become my friends on the road. And I learned about people with all these conversations I have at airports. These are family to me too. I have a very fragmented, very strange existence, and it's not always been easy, but it's been sheer joy. I'm here because I love what I do, and I'm filled with joy, and I hope I can do it for many, many more years. And I want to thank all of you who took the time to support me and have lifted me. And I can't mention you all by name, but everyone here has a story who's affected my life and lifted me. So I want to thank those people on the road that I fell in love with. I want to thank you for seeing that it's worth supporting a crazy comic performer and being part of the experience with me. I'm very grateful. I say this with love and gratitude. And I'm hungry and I could use a Bloody Mary right about now. And I love you all. So thank you so much.
All right, now it's time for the stars. Ready?
By the way, I love you, Palm Springs. That's my decision. I'm ready.
1, 2, 3.
Wow.
I